What is up, everyone? JD here. Hope you're doing well today. We're going to be going through my top carried knives so far for 2024. Let's get into it. All right, so we're going to do this in what I think is the proper order. Might be off one or two spots, but I do want to start off with a couple of honorable mentions that did get a good amount of carry, but they just didn't quite crack it into the top 10, but they still are so good that I wanted to bring out briefly just to show them. So first, I want to bring out the Dam Design Invictus. This one is sold by Kizer and made by Kizer, but it is a Dam Design model. They have a beautiful 154 cm static washed blade. The micarta on here is so well done, guys. I like this back spacer and the filler tab here for the reversible pocket clip a ton. When I started this one out, it came through in the pass around and I was kind of meh on it. But when they actually sent it to me for me to check out and spend a little bit of time with it on my own, it grew on me a ton. Very nice action. It has ceramic bearings and Delrin washers, so very stable in the pivot. I really like this captive pivot shape here very much. The micarta is really nice. It has that soft to the touch feel, but then when you go to grip on it, it feels very grippy, not slick at all, which I really like that a little bit more than like your rich light type stuff. It has a nice thin belly to it. It cuts very well. Again, I like Kizer's 154 cm. They do a fantastic job. You got this jimping right here on the top of the blade, and that does work really well. It's nice and grippy, fairly aggressive, nice choke up position, very comfortable because it's thin overall, which I really do appreciate about that. And it has really good sounds to it if you do like to fidget. Very snappy. Now, I will say it does have a good detent on it, so it keeps it in place so that it feels very crisp on the break. But if you do kind of accidentally slide off, which would be hard to do because the jimping's well done, the spring pushes the plunge lock so strongly into the blade that it will kind of feel like it's catching up, but it's really not. It has remained locked up solid for me as well, but it's really been a joy. I've been enjoying this one a ton. So, that is the first honorable mention, and I probably need to move through these a little bit faster considering they're honorable mentions. The next one is going to be the Vosteed Raccoon Top Liner Lock Edition. This is the button lock compression style lock that they've started doing here, and they've done a great job on it. Really, the only thing that kept this one out for me overall is just the fact that I'm not really big on 14C28N. Very tough steel. I think if it were on a fixed blade, that would really justify the toughness here. But the edge retention on 14C, I'm finding more and more just performs really poorly. To me, 154 cm's edge retention is so far superior that it's very noticeable in any amount of cutting. With 14C28N, you really want to strop it after using it. I think here you probably might even be able to, if I can get the reflection, see a little bit of chipping in there, and that was just from cutting a couple of zip ties loose the other day when I was putting up new poles for the outside string lights that we have. So a little bit of chipping there. I'm gonna have to go and strop all of that up. So that's what really keeps it out of there. But detent's great. Thumb studs are awesome. Really enjoying the button style compression lock on this one. The other little nitpick, and this is mostly with a lot of the Vosteed models, is just get that pocket clip all the way out to the end there, guys. It's a deep carry fold over style clip that y'all are mounting too low on the body. You guys gotta get those all the way out to the top of those steel liners. And if you're not carrying the steel liners all the way out, that would be an adjustment that I would suggest that you make so that you can get that pocket clip out there. All right, getting into the last one. This one, the carry slowed down. It's really not the fault of the knife. It's more me trying to get through a lot of those pass around and review samples so I can spend time with them. So it didn't get carried quite as much, and a couple of the ones that are on here will kind of show you why that happened. So last honorable mention, sorry, is going to be the CJRB Echo. You guys know I really enjoy this one a lot. This one is the S90V variant, but I really do enjoy all of the variants that they have, whether it be the button lock, whether it's the liner lock, whether it's the budget, whether it's the premium, or something in between. This one's been really great. Got that Mars Valley fat carbon inlay in there, and the titanium milled, I almost said decarry, milled pocket clip. Now that I understand this knife, it's not the crispiest button lock, but just knowing that you really just got to hammer it when you deploy it, and that makes it really satisfying. And the action's buttery smooth, and man, it's remained locked up. And honestly, CJRB is doing a really good job with their S90V. Really good job. So I might have to trim those down because I spent a little bit too much time on the Invictus, but I really did like that one and wanted to mention that. So we're going to get into it with number 10. And I am going to bring a pair out here. So first is going to be my premium Sheepdog. This one here has been very modded. I picked this up on sale. I want to say it was like 120 bucks. These were normally closer to 200. It has the premium S35VN steel on it, titanium frame lock on here, Delrin washers, very smooth action. This was a flipper only model when I got it, and I sent it to J Dizzle Design, and he did the opening hole and flipper tab delete for me. And then I did the anodizing on there. I really like that blue. I think it came out nice. And then I did the pocket clip to match, and the hardware. I think I did the hardware, didn't I? Trying to remember now. I think I did the hardware and the pocket clip to match, and the pivot. I think the pivot. Sent it off to Sat2 Dave. And when I got it back from J Dizzle, he left it sharp, but it was a little sharper than what I wanted. So I had Sat2 just kind of soften a little bit around here, and then it was just a little sharp on the corner there, so he rounded that out for me as well. And then he did his hollow grind on there. So really nice hollow grind. So I really like that one. And the other one that I like, because I do love the ones that come from the factory without the flipper on them, because it does have that more pill-shaped opening hole on it. Very nicely done here with the 154 cm and the red denim micarta, and it is significantly lighter than the all titanium version for sure. But man, they just did such a good job on these two. If you've watched the channel for any length of time, you guys know. And again, it'll all be linked down below, anything that's available, so that you guys can get a hold of it. And then if it's not, it'll actually be listed and linked, whereas this will just take you to Kizer's website or CJRB's website, Artisan CJRB, to get whatever model variant that you like of these. And then the ones that really aren't available, I'll link those specifically, or I'll shout out where you can go and get them. But really like these from Kizer. Let's move it on to the next one. All right, coming in at number 9 is going to be the Vosteed Dotson. This one here is going to be on the Vosteed link. You got M390 with titanium throughout. You have a titanium filler tab with a milled titanium clip. Now, I know this is a crossbar lock, but they really understand how to design this. So the way that they notched it here makes it so that it doesn't release easily. They also brought the thumb studs, which I think work best for most of your crossbar locking knives. They brought it in here at a low angle, so it really fires. Really nice deployment, very comfortable. Does have a more gent style profile on it, so office carry, date night, whatever you would like, it'll do that. But it also has the strength of that crossbar lock. It has a nice thin slicey blade, so it is going to be a slicer, and it came with a great factory edge, great reverse tanto blade shape here, so nice utility with it. And it does have a front flipper that works pretty good. Not the best on a crossbar lock, but they did tight jimping here. If you hit it right down there, it does deploy nicely. It's not super crisp. I would like, you know, like a detent ball type crispiness, but it is super satisfying to deploy with the thumb studs, guys. Very comfortable in hand. The M390 from Vosteed is holding up really well, so I feel like they did a fairly good job on it. I know M390 does have excellent edge retention, and they did a nice heat treat on there. I also like the fact that if you look really closely, you can see that they actually did a different type of finish halfway through. It's very subtle, and you do notice it more so in person. So pocket clip works really good on this one too. Great retention, great action. I do have skiffs in here, but it did come with stamped ceramic bearings, which work really well also. So that is number 9. Coming in at number 8 for me is going to be a longtime friend of the channel. That is going to be the Benchmade Bugout. This one here, as you can see, has been heavily modded. I did do acid etch and stone watch, 19 degrees per side on the 20CV. This was, or still is, I guess, the Blade HQ exclusive 20CV steel. I did get the applied weapon tech scales, and I went with the Lynch Northwest deep carry pocket clip with the blacksmith finish, and I did get the blacked out hardware because this was all like a satin finish with that 20CV, and it had like the green standoffs and everything. And I did go ahead and get the blacked out access lock as well, and all of that has really just kind of made me really appreciate this all over again. So it's nice and locked up solid, so it's not going to be a dropper. I like the fact that this one here, you can kind of just a little bit of wrist and take it home. I was afraid to hit the table right there with my knuckles, so I didn't follow through. But I prefer it to be locked up solid and be able to close. And you can see it makes it a little bit harder to wrist it out. Like you really got to put some wrist into it. So you can tune these with a little bit of slop in there if you do like them to be more of a dropper. To me, I just like it locked up solid. I love this look. I think this really just refreshed the whole thing for me, and it's really pulled it back into my pocket a lot. Plus, I wanted to get a good feel for this type of scale from Applied Weapon Tech. This one here feels a little bit more fuller and a little bit thinner than the old titanium scales on here, and it brought the weight way back down as well. They do keep these drilled out to be reversible. The Flytaniums were not like that. And so far, the 20CV has held up really well. So I do appreciate that. Nice USA made knife, USA made scales, USA pocket clips. So just really wanted to kind of set this all up because the Flytanium stuff wasn't really USA made. So I like the fact that this is an all USA loadout here on this particular one. But let's keep it moving. Number 7 is going to be the Vosteed Hedgehog. This one here is a modded version. I did send it off to Satu Dave to put a little bit of hologrind on here. It was a more robust finish on this one. I like mine to be a little bit more slicey for my type of use for EDC. We have the newest lock from Vosteed. That is going to be the button lock compression style lock, very much like a Spyderco, using that stop pin to sandwich the liner lock here on the base of the back of the spine of the blade, and then that stop pin there. So it sandwiches it in there, making it very, very durable. Nice robust liners in here, very nice action. This one here is still riding on the factory stamped bearings. The action was so good, I didn't see a need to switch them out. And you do have multiple means of deployment here. So you can use the button if you want to. I like this flipper tab. It's still low profile, even though it sticks out and it's got good jimping, but you got nice leverage and it pops. And then you also have the thumb stud, which I really do like that combination. And then you have that fuller, and that fuller is nice for that reverse flick. So you can really let it fly. Sorry, I'm trying to find my spot again. I do have to just take a moment to remember to move below the button there for the compression lock. But then once I hit it, I'm able to easily flip that out. The micarta on here is really well done. They did move this clip up a little bit better, so I will give that a pass because it does carry fairly deeply. I think if they would have done what you saw on the Invictus, on the honorable mentions, and made that micarta, I think that would have been a little bit cooler looking. But again, I understand to keep the cost down, they had to do that. You got S35 yen ceramic bearings that are stamped. multiple means of deployment with a very well done new lock. I know it is in a weird spot, but that just is more of the way this lock is made. But it really doesn't take much to get used to it at all. It's very easy to do. You would have to move the hand, even if it was a button lock anyway, or a liner lock, whatever it would be, you would still need to move the hands around a little bit to get to that. So once you realize instead of coming straight up, you just come down and at an angle and back, it's not a lot to adjust, you guys. But this has been nice. It's been a great companion carry for me. It always goes in the pouch. I have on occasion carried this by itself when I'm in my gym shorts or something like that, because the weight's pretty good on it. So I really do like these. I think the price is really good. So far, the S35N feels like it's very well done. Took a very nice edge and has held it. So I really do like that a lot. So that is the Hedgehog. All right, number 6. It's going to be my M4 Manix build. This one here is the Blade HQ exclusive. You can sometimes find it on sale for $119, but I think regularly it's around $135 or so, which I think is great for USA made lightweight that you can now disassemble. So that has really invigorated the Manix 2 lightweight, in my opinion. I have the Applied Weapon Tech lightweight scales on here. I did try to keep that mint theme with the M4. I did like that. I have the Flytanium titanium ball cage with tritium inserts. I did install the green tritium in there, and I can show those to you. So you can see the tritium there. Hopefully the glow is coming through. It looks so much better in person, always does. But I really like that setup. I did switch to the ceramic ball, but I like the factory spring strength, so I kept those. I did find a coated steel fold over pocket clip because it was the flat style. You know how Spyderco does it. It kind of comes out and then out, and it hangs a little further down. But I just went and got the fold over style replacement clips that are out there, super cheap. I found it on Amazon and made it deep carry. It is reversible. This is more of a trigger for me. I can go up here, but I hang over everything a little bit and I can kind of feel the ball in there. But truth be told, going into right before the first knuckle is still super comfortable for me. The M4 on here, super sharp, holds a great edge retention, very acute tip. It is coated to keep it from getting corroded. Spyderco did a good job on this heat treat because it has not been chippy, and it has held an edge a really long time. And I really like the way that this sounds now with this setup. So with the aluminum scales on here, it sounds really cool. So take a listen. Very, very snappy to deploy. So that is number 6, and I've really enjoyed that, but let's keep it going. Coming in at number 5, guys, is my Militant. This thing has really blown me away. It is my favorite to date Kizer that I have, and that's saying something because you guys know I love the Sheepdog, and you know I love the Sparrow, and I really do enjoy the October and the Towser S. But this one here, 100% my favorite. It flexes so well, guys. So you can get it with S35N and stone finish with everything with the micarta inlays. You can even get them from White Mountain Knives with 154 cm for about, I think, $10 less, but with my code JD for EDC, you'll save 10% on that, and it'll make it a little bit more affordable. And then, of course, this one here was super popular. They brought this one out this year. This is the S45 VN variant. It has that really beautiful translucent coating on here. The DLC is really well done, super hard coating. I've done a lot of cutting with this one, and it still looks brand new, which is crazy to me. I think you probably can see some snails. I don't know if they'll show up on camera from carrying and using it. Actually, that's dirt as well. Maybe not. Maybe it's a little bit better than I thought. Purple haze inlays, great action. I do have skiffs in here. It is a guillotine for sure. Once the momentum starts, there's nothing that's going to require you to assist it going into the closed position. It's just going to fall. Very nice jimping. They took it all the way around, so it's very satisfying with the detent to flip with the front flipper, and that reverse flick is nice. The thumb's a little bit meh, because you got to kind of kick it out. I'm never really a huge fan of when you got to do that, but I will say they rounded it here, so if you try to go as close to it as possible, it's not bad. But it's not super satisfying. It doesn't feel as crisp as it does on the reverse and the flipper tab. Biggest complaint on here is the pocket clip. It is like a bullnose pocket clip, man. I can never get this in the pocket with one hand. It is just one of the worst pocket clips. It really needs more of an angle here. Some of the material removed out of the front of the bullnose and just have that come straight up almost to a point, but keep a little bit there so it's not pointy. That's really my biggest complaint and part of the reason why it's down so low, because I love everything else about the knife. Just really disappointed in that pocket clip. So that is coming in at number 5. All right, coming in at number 4 is going to be my Quiet Carry 9, and my oh my, it is dirty. I must not have cleaned it up after I used it last, but I really like this. They did a great job on the magnet cut, coming in at 63 HRC. It actually, at 63, it held a little bit of a better edge than my Maverick, but I think this also is a little bit more robust. The Maverick's a little bit more slicey, so that might have something to do with it. There's just more steel there to take the abuse per se from using it day to day. I really like this version because of the fat carbon here. I think it's White Storm or something like that. Can't really remember what it's called, or Arctic Storm, something to that effect. The knurling on here is really nice. It's a really good touch. They did a really good job. It's not overly aggressive, but it does increase the texture for the grip. And then they matched it on the back here. And then it has micro milling knurling going on through the body here. It's almost too smooth to tell. This has one of the best pocket clips in the business. In and out of the pocket, very smooth and nice retention, so it's not going to fall out easily. You got a little small back spacer here made of titanium. Great liner lock. This one does have skiffs, but even with the factory Delrin washers that they use, it is very, very smooth. Every once in a while I have that problem. I do wish the brake was a little bit earlier on this one, but it really will not be an issue if you let it fall, because it has this stop area here that will hit the back of the thumb if you want it to drop to that point and then let it fall the rest of the way. I always try to just catch it and let it go, but I really like this. Good jimping on the back. Beautiful stonewash finish. Now I will say I noticed this on the last couple that I've gotten from them. You can see a little bit of the belt scratches from whether they use the belt to sharpen it. So I'd probably try to give that feedback to them so they could pass it on to the shop that they're using in Taiwan. But Taiwanese made, great EDC. This one would totally cover all of your duties going out. Gent knife, hard use, really good cutting geometry on this one. I just really like this a lot. It's still, after all this time, riding in my top 5 very easily. Coming in at number 3 is going to be the Vosteed Psyop. This one may have made it up a little bit higher had I had it longer, but I haven't had it quite as long. We're inside of a month with this one, but it has made its way into my pocket like at least every week. Usually twice a week. I really like this one. To me, this is the ideal size. It does have that compression style button lock again. Very nice ergos here. I tend to favor this position. I just ignore this guard here altogether. It does have a nice little choke up spot for detailed work here. For me, it's about a first knuckle trigger pull there. When I go up any higher, I just get too close to that blade's edge. But for getting into packages and things of that nature, it's great. And then for me, this spot is great for using it for hard use push cuts, things of that nature, because it does allow that knuckle to kind of guide anything that you're getting through that cut. And because it's so slicey and it has a good belly, it's super easy to control. And then for that pinch grip, it works nicely because I land in that opening hole, and then I'm able to kind of wrap my fingers around and just control that pinch grip very, very easily. Like, I land in a really good spot on this one for myself for those pinch grips. Now, the button doesn't protrude out as far as I would like. I'd like a little bit more protrusion there, but everybody keeps telling me that just wait, it'll break in and move out a little bit. And so far, we're almost at a month and it hasn't yet. So I really got to squeeze to get it to drop. Or if I don't, it'll start to break. And then if you just hit it, the momentum of the blade, if you don't push it all the way in, will carry through so that you can get that drop shot. So it almost operates similar to the Bugout with the crossbar lock, how that would operate. The reverse flick is super satisfying. And then the front flip, because it is a real detent, very satisfying. And the thumb, kind of the same complaint that I mentioned on that Militant. You got to kind of come out at a little bit of an angle, but it is such a straight shot that it's not quite as noticeable. Pocket clip on here is really well done. You see how it has that nice angle on it? That makes it go in and out of the pocket nicely. Good retention there as well. And personally, I like the gun stock pattern. It reminds me of like a 1911 gun stock where it has a little bit of it on there, but it doesn't quite go all the way up the handle. That's kind of what it reminds me of. I think it's a nice look. But if that doesn't really do it for you because it doesn't go the whole way through, which I personally like this, they do have the plain Jane one that is contoured. So they contour the scale on that one to kind of offset that you don't have a pattern or design. And then on this one, it's a flat scale, but it has that diamond texture gun stock pattern on it. But that is the Vosteed Psyop. Very nice. All right, coming at number 2, it's going to be the Nefaris, guys. This one is the Flamed Anno Nefaris with the hand rub satin finish blade here. Still really like this one. It is buttery smooth, really great detent from the factory. I didn't have to do anything to it. Very nice reverse flick. It reminds me of the Nimble X here, where you have that kind of split guard here, but I can really choke up on it nicely. Got plenty of space. It's very comfortable. I don't need a ton of the blade there to get that grip because it's kind of like trigger-ish where you're landing there to hold it. Jimping's in a good spot for me. Really thin, slicey 20 CV blade. Very impressed. I don't know if they've done anything to dial up their 20 CV, but it has held an edge really well, and again, very slicey. They did a nice job with the Flame Anno. I've seen some that have a little bit more pop of color on the flame, so I think what they've probably done with that Flame Anno is they probably polished it first and got that color to really pop. The Lightning Anno on the pivot collar really doesn't bother me here because it's such a small amount. It actually looks really good, I think. Very small speed holes here, which I think are a nice little accent just to break up the very neutral body. And then you got contouring all the way around this one here. And then you got some knurling for grip down on the bottom and on the top, but not on the edges here where they did that. Again, very thin and slicey. You got the speed holes here to kind of match the body as well. I actually really prefer the Wii logo here on having the sterile pivot. I think that's a really clean look, and I would say, you know, do that on all your limiteds to make them a little bit more special than your regular Wiis, but I've never really been bothered by the Wii pivot. It has good access to the lock bar, but because it is thin, I notice after a little fidgeting with this one, I do start to feel it a little bit in the thumb. It's not awful, but I do notice that. The reverse flick is really good. I do not like the thumb hole at all. You really are pushing straight out with that. So for me, this is really a reverse flick opening hole, and then that flipper tab is really, really good. Really, really well jumped. And man, just listen to the sounds on this one. Just really, really good. That is number 2. All right, guys. We're at number 1. Anybody want to take a guess before we bring it out on the screen? I bet a few of you would guess. It is going to be the Padre. Still, after all this time that I've had this one, my number 1 favorite in the collection. I mean, it's just like glove in hand, old pair of jeans, whatever you want to reference here. Just very comfortable, great size for me. A little bit left over on the back there. I know it looks like more here, but when you look at how much of the actual palm lands on it, it is just a little bit that's left over there. Very comfortable to use, great belly to it, very nice and slicey. The Van X is done very well. I really do like the way that they do their sandblasted, stone washed finish to kind of complement each other. I am trying to get a Timascus backspacer, but they said it's going to be down the road before they bring any more in stock, which is a little bit of a bummer because I think that would really complement the Timascus pivot collar. I don't really want to do that for the pocket clip. I found like anytime you get a nice pocket clip or do something nice with a pocket clip, for me, I'm always bumping into stuff with the pocket clip, so they always get scratched up anyway. So I'm not too worried about that. Great access to that lock bar. It is so well dialed from the factory. Listen to this. Man, great sounds, great action. They do have the orange peel if you don't like the diamond texture. I will say you do feel it kind of sawing a little bit at your jeans or pants when you're taking them in and out. It is a downside to that, but the benefit to it is it's very nice looking, very aesthetic, but it's also very grippy. I do like that a ton. Now it is a drop point, but it works in such a good position that it's really easy to get to that tip. It's a nice low clip point, clipped drop point here, so it's dropping and then they clip the edge there and they got that tip down very, very low. You can do a little bit of some stuff on the table there with this one, rocking it before you get to that banana handle, and it's a really nice weight. It just feels very solid in pocket. But that is my number one top carried. Let me know what you thought about my top 10 guys down in the comments below. Let me know what you're carrying the most, top 10 or just your top period. Love to hear it. Shout out to everyone who watched to this point. It does help the algorithm. Don't forget those links are down there below, and don't forget to hit that like on your way out to the next video, guys. Special thank you to the channel members. I love you guys. Thank you for that extra layer of support you provide. It does help the channel tremendously. I love you all. I hope you have a fantastic week. Until next time, peace.